I believe that everyone is creative and that our creativity is medicine, and not just for ourselves. It's our hope and our connection for a better world for all of us. I'm Ashley Riley, and this is Made of Dreams. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Made of Dreams. I'm your host, Ashley Riley, and I am so happy you're here. Season 2 of Made of Dreams is chugging right along as we explore thoughts and tips on creativity and living a creative life through my lens of 15 plus years of being an indie artist, as well as through the lens of tarot. One of the things I've really had to embrace is creative cycles. Especially as someone who releases music, plays shows, and tours regionally, it's really important not to be too hard on yourself when one area of your business or body of work is getting more attention than another. There are times when I'm writing all the time and feeling so in the flow and creative, and then when it comes time to turn that into a recorded song or a podcast episode or whatever the product is, it naturally shifts my focus into a different lane of creativity. So I really like to think that I'm not being creative. I'm just flexing a different muscle. I've got a few metaphors happening right now. Seasons, lanes, muscles, but you get the idea, right? I guess what I'm really trying to say is that this work requires more than just creative output all the time. There are times when we've got to put down the pen and shift that creative mind into thinking about how to share your work with an audience and connect in that way. And I may be imagining this a tiny bit, but I just had the thought that maybe the younger generation kind of does this a little more naturally because they've literally grown up with being marketed to from all angles. And so they seem to inherently see the hook or the title or the connection point that works in this day and age. And I feel, as one of the literal eldest millennials, that I've always thought of the art itself as the connection point, but in this attention economy, it's kind of not. Let's be real. People aren't using Instagram or Facebook as a place to find new music. We all have our own worlds and algorithms, and that brings us to which, side note, I know what my weekly obsession is about this week. People use social media in all types of ways and for all types of things, and there's so many people out there running ads for this and that, and it's hard to connect for long because then you're enticed by another ad or another reel that's boosted or whatever, and no shade. I've ran ads before, but when you're trying to organically find your people, it can be hard to know what to do. So that's what today's topic is, from more of an energy standpoint, of course, self-promotion and finding your online groove. I did want to mention that I had someone recently tell me that they liked this musician and his songs, and were kind of following along only to find out that it was a literal AI musician. I asked them to show me, and to be honest, at first glance or first scroll, how we generally behave online, I was like, wow, that looks really real. There were signs. If you stayed long enough, and as I scrolled down and looked at even more of the content, I watched one where this AI artist was speaking and saying, "They tell me my song doesn't have a chance, and they say my song won't be heard," and on and on. And he was kind of pouting, and it was really kind of pissing me off because I knew that he was AI, and basically please share this and help prove them wrong. Share this and let's make this go viral. And honestly, the AI bot artist sounded really pouty, and it pissed me off because it was actually taking the struggle from a real indie artist to be relatable or something, and it seemed to be working. The robot had all of these comments and fans, if they were even real, but it was weird to look at these people commenting and think, most of these people think this is a real person, and it's not. What a strange time, But what an advantage that we have, because we can look someone in the eye, and we can smile at them, and we can feel them smile back, and we can crack up together, and we can feel sad and happy and connected. And we have to remember that as we navigate these new waters. Our inherent superpower is our humanness. It's not a flaw. It's what literally connects us, because I believe we're all one. You are someone. You're some of the one. And you are a masterpiece, a piece of the master. And seriously, do not forget that. You matter, and what you're doing makes a difference. It really, truly does. So with that, it's time for a little segment I'm calling Weekly Obsession. Weekly Obsessions, where I'm sharing anything that's lighting me up right now, because sharing is caring, and I care about you. So this week, I'm loving DuckDuckGo. Have you tried this browser? I am so into it, and I'm telling everyone who will listen to try it out. So if you use Chrome or Google, you might be aware of how overnight they turned into an AI chatbot. Not cool. I hate it. I don't want to chat with a bot. I want to ask a question, and I want to get the website or the Reddit thread or something, anything other than a fucking AI chat assistant. So I asked Google how to turn it off, and you can't. It said you can do something and like set these filters in the settings, but it's always on and always tracking you. It also told me that I could use a private browser like DuckDuckGo, and I'd been hearing about that one, so I downloaded it on my phone, and it walked me through a setup where I got to choose my little duck and my app color and customize it if I wanted to use AI, which I chose never. And let me tell you, within a day, I felt the difference of not being tracked and targeted online. It doesn't know what I'm thinking about or what I'm searching next. I don't get ads of things I don't want to buy. I want to buy way less. And it actually feels calm to be online and easy to set my phone down and to like be in life again. So I highly, highly recommend it. And that is what I'm loving this week. By the way, ChatGPT now allows ads on their website and chats, so you're being marketed to there as well. All right, now on to the energy of self-promotion. What's the first thing that pops into your mind? I know for me it's like, ugh, not fun. It seems hard, like I don't know what to do. I second guess a lot of things. And what I'm coming to realize, like so many other things in our lives, that's a narrative. It's a story, and it's running unchecked in my brain. So when I really think about it, I'm past the point of being embarrassed or worried what people think of me, mostly. I have to admit that when I wanted to start incorporating tarot into this show, I was worried that people might be freaked out by that or think it was like scary or bad, but after really thinking about it and knowing how it's helped me, I think of it as a layer of thought, a different perspective, and I feel that I'm using it in a way that's really encouraging and thoughtful and responsible. And so if anyone has an issue with that, I think it's their issue and not mine. And because of that, here we are, reading tarot, and I'm about to get to that. But I also wanted to say that the more and more I debunk a lot of these things, the more and more I realize that being yourself is the absolute best way to connect and represent yourself. I think that that's what stopped me, because I have felt that I needed to be more, not less. Like I needed more experience, more knowledge. Like I needed more of a following. I needed cooler clothes. I needed better lighting, like just more and better. And maybe it's the Decatur, Illinois in me, but literally what you see is what you get. And I'm starting to realize the beauty of that. I've heard other people say this, and it's so true. It's like when we read a book or watch a movie, if the lead character is perfect and has no problems, nothing wrong, and nothing to overcome, it's really hard to root for and relate to someone like that. Like, we love a good journey. We like the scrappy underdog and the character who's doing embarrassing things and laughing kind of right along with us. A lot of times the perfect character is kind of unlikable. They're flat. It's like Regina George before she starts eating the Caltine bars. Like, we don't like her until we see her struggles, and then Katie kind of becomes unlikable. I'm talking about Mean Girls, if you don't know. There's a million examples, but just something to think about. Be yourself. And the last thing I wanted to say about that is learning to detach from outcome in terms of social media. As someone who just said, I always felt the need to be more, to have more, to be flawless, I think it's really important to make sure that we know that our worth is not in the number of likes or followers we have, or if we get a certain opportunity, or win a certain songwriting contest, or get to play a certain festival. To be quite honest, and I hate to say it, but I am really learning that so much of people's follower growth kind of comes from paying for ads. There's nothing wrong with that, but just know it's like when my client brings me a picture of a model on Pinterest of how they want their hair, it's kind of just fair to know, hey, there's a row of extensions in there. Maybe that's even a wig. It doesn't mean that we can't get close to that too. It's just setting the expectation of what's real in terms of it if you're hoping to go after those same things. Like if you're touring, you might be running ads or having press in that area. Like that's how the game is played in this day and age, even by indie artists. I have a great publicist that I use when I release music. So, just know that sometimes. Now, let's get into the cards, shall we? So once again, I used Angie Banicki's Explorers of the Soul deck, and I did my signature 3-card pull featuring the heart, the ache, and the pulse. So for the heart, I pulled the Page of Swords. For the ache, I pulled the Ace of Wands. And for the pulse, for the second week in a row, I pulled the Knight of Cups. So let's break it down. All right, the Page of Swords for the heart of the matter on the energy of self-promotion. This card represents full-on openness and curiosity. The Page of Swords is a messenger full of ideas, quick-witted, sharp-tongued, passionate, a little impulsive, but a great communicator. The swords are the air element and represent our mind, our thoughts, our intellect, and our mental clarity. It's associated with the air signs Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, and swords are quick and sharp and can be productive or destructive, depending on how you use them. And one thing that's really cool about tarot is that the cards themselves are rich with symbols and messages if you take a discerning look. Sometimes it's obvious and you can tell straight away if it's a happy card or more of a challenging one at a first glance. And other times it's subtle, so I like to give a little rundown here so we can look for patterns and interpretations and messages that show up there as well. So the Page of Swords shows a young figure standing on somewhat rocky but green fertile ground. They're poised mid-stride with their sword and wind blowing their hair and facing one way but looking the other, taking in their surroundings, bright and alert. This card is not committed to a certain path. Like I mentioned, it's openness and curiosity, and that is a strength. It's not a closed, strict pursuit. The wind blowing is like mental energy and excitement, full of ideas and a love of ideas, but maybe a little nervous energy. But it's like following your interest, not your obligation. It makes me think of starting out on a road trip. Your energy at the beginning, excited for the trip, ready to go, kind of running around, making sure you have everything. I do this thing when I'm ready to go and I have a little more time, which I lovingly call panic packing, where I'm packed, I'm ready to go, but if I have room in my suitcase, start throwing random shit in there. Like, oh, I think I'm going to take my gua sha set. I'm probably going to want to do that like every night before bed as I'm laying down. And oh, I probably also need this notebook that I take on every trip and never write in. And ooh, these shoes are kind of uncomfortable, but maybe they'll work for this day. And maybe this headband, I don't wear headbands, but maybe in North Carolina it will look good. Maybe this hat, like you get the idea. If I have like extra room, I'm throwing stuff in there. I think it's nervous energy, but I'm just getting ready to go and we're not. And so I start panic packing. Or if my bag is full, then I panic clean. where I'm going around the house and I'm like, hey, pick up these socks, and who left this on the counter, and, being really fun. But we all know after a long trip, the last thing you want to do is come home to a house that needs cleaned. So I think my husband finally gets it. And in the last couple times that we've went on a trip, like, we cleaned the day or two before, and it's really nice. But back to this energy. It's excited and slightly chaotic, which is a really cool point when it comes to self-promotion. I know I personally can think of it as something that I have to do, and that doesn't feel good. I don't like obligations. I like freedom, and I like options. And so this is a refreshing reminder for me. This card can also represent a phase of exploration and gathering info before action. So to me, at the heart of it, this card signifies an eagerness to share ideas and projects with others, which is good, and following what lights you up and feels natural, instead of locking into a rigid schedule and workload of having to do things a specific way at all times, and I'm super into that. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have a process or a method or a schedule. By all means, if posting 3 reels a week, 2 carousels, and 1 regular post appeals to you, don't let me stop you. But I think it just means stay open and curious, and remember, it's a learn as you go type of thing. Sometimes we share certain types of content, and it doesn't land as well as something that we just kind of throw out there. That's information and can help lead the way, Each one of us has our own unique path, and what works for me won't be the exact thing that would work for you. So observing that as you go will go a long way. So openness and curiosity in attitude and execution, as well as your art. All right, let's look at the ache. The Ace of Wands as the ache. Wands are the fire element and represent our goals and passions, our creativity, and what drives us in our lives. Wands are associated with the fire signs Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. On the traditional card, there's a hand kind of appearing from a cloud of smoke, offering a wand that has little budding leaves on it, which means it's still growing. The landscape has green grass and trees and rolling hills, which represent challenges that can be met with good effort. In the distance, there's a castle, which is always a good sign, I think. All signs of opportunity and growth, and the aces are beginning opportunities and inspiration and creativity. And the Ace of Wands is bold, it's bravery, it's finding your own voice. But the ache is that inspiration has a shelf life. And so this card is saying, like, hey, the time is now, conditions are good, don't waste it. Inspiration is active, it's not stagnant. So don't wait too long to use this energy and miss the window. This is a follow your instincts card, following the Page of Swords, who is the explorer, gathering the info and ready to communicate. So this is saying, yes, push past those old boundaries and stories that limited you. This is a time of growth. Use the momentum and optimism because moments pass. If you have excitement that you let just simmer, it cools, Then you can fall into feeling unclear, uninspired, and like you don't know what to do. Feeling, well, like me. If you've been like me and feeling like self-promotion is a chore, it can be easy to see all of those options and stay in that phase of just ruminating on the ideas and never turning inspiration into action in terms of putting yourself out there. So I think this is talking to me. I'm a creator and I overthink on this step. So the Page of Swords is that exploration to find the inspiration, and the Ace of Wands is your sign to take it and act. You don't find your fans or your friends or your collaborators or your community by just thinking about it. You got to get out there. All right, let's check the pulse. We've got our charming friend, the Knight of Cups, for the second week in a row. And cups are the water element and represent our emotions, feelings, and relationships, our intuition, and even our subconscious mind. They're associated with water signs Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. As we know, Knights are action-oriented and they are assigned to keep pursuing your goals. But this Knight comes across as the most leisurely of the group. He's not charging at something. He's following his heart, and he's in tune with his emotions and feelings. The classic Knight of Cups shows a knight in armor on a white horse riding leisurely, holding a cup, which can be seen as the feelings, in his hand out like an offering. This knight is connected to Hermes, who is known as the messenger, using charm and persuasion as his tools. He's smooth, planned, not reckless, and he's offering his cup, his feelings. That's the offering, the exchange, and it's worthy and valuable. So this card is leading with your feelings and what you are called to, but it's very important to be genuine. The Knight of Cups can be seen as fickle or someone who doesn't get off their high horse. So just remember that, and remember, as we were talking about earlier, being yourself is enough and is the perfect offering. We want real romance, sure, but real, true intention. So ways that you can lean into the energy of the Knight of Cups is bringing, for us, in the spirit of self-promotion or putting yourself or your work into the world, may be to really tune into your passions and what is driving you forward, what is bringing you joy, and lean into that. Allow yourself to dream, and to dream bigger than you feel capable of. And remember to be open and honest and work and post in a way that aligns with your values and what you want to be associated with. I have an episode with Melissa Mulligan from season 1 where we talk about being intentional with building an online following and how, you can rage bait and do things like that and build really quickly. But then think about the type of energy that you're exchanging with when you do that, It makes me instantly feel like, no thanks, I don't want that. I kind of want to use this podcast as an example for a moment. I took a really long break between season 1 and 2. I love podcasting, but after season 1, I burned out a little bit because the hardest part for me was finding guests for the show. And I was largely having a guest each episode and having wonderful conversations on creativity with them. But after like 40 episodes, I began to not know who to have on the show. And then I started experimenting with some solo episodes, and I feel like I really enjoyed that. Then I took a little break and life happened, and I was able to become the editor of Magic Hour. So I was still in the podcasting world, and it sustained me and brought me back to now where I'm so lit up by exploring creativity and tarot that I decided to combine the two. It's still a conversation on creativity, and my guest is kind of the tarot in a way, and I'm sure I'll have some interviews here and there, and maybe the format will shift and change, and I'm okay with that because I'm okay with the pivot. Anyway, permission to go explore and pivot. If you know, you know. Okay, that's the story the cards are telling us today on the topic of self-promotion, and I really think that that is a beautiful way to think about it. It gives me a sense of relief in a way to not just be so calculated, to just have the reminder that who we are is all that we need to be. So I'll be back next week with another new topic. And in the meantime, head over to Made of Dreams podcast on Instagram and follow along and say hello. I've started a brand new page over there, and I'd love to hear from you. I also started a brand new YouTube channel for the show, and if you're not watching, you should. Check it out sometime. I have a really cool video intro, and I show the cards on the screen as I'm talking about them. And next week, you'll get to see my brand new look because I am getting braces. So if I start sounding like I've got a lisp all of a sudden, you'll know why. Anyway, if you're enjoying this podcast, please consider subscribing and leaving a 5-star review on your platform of choice. And if you know someone who you think would enjoy this episode or any other one, please share it with them. It would mean the absolute world to me. If you'd like to learn more about me or the show, head over to madeofdreamspodcast.com and you can sign up for the Dreamer's Digest and receive my creative state checklist to keep you in the flow. I'm going to leave you with a song of mine. And in the meantime, dream on.
don't care what you do. And I'm not counting on you, man, I'm counting you out. Don't ask my forgiveness, you don't need it now. I know I'm in more than you, I'm setting you free. Honey, it